Hi yogis, thanks for joining me. My name is Rebecca Conrad and welcome to Yoga Today. In today's class, we're going to be working on concentration. Now, yoga is an amazing tool for concentration and focusing our mind and bringing about more mental clarity and alertness and awareness, because you really can't do yoga without concentrating. You have to concentrate and focus on your breath. You have to concentrate on your alignment in the different physical postures. You also have to concentrate whenever you're doing a balance pose, whether you're standing on one leg or not. You have to, bring awareness to your core, to all of the muscles coordinating together, as well as your breath at the same time, and your eyes, which are also required for balance. We also have to have humility when we are practicing and concentrating in balance poses. I can't tell you how many times I've been teaching in front of a class, I've gone to demonstrate a balance pose, I've turned my head or felt a little wobble in my ankle, and all of a sudden I'm out of it. But that's what cultivating strength and balance is all about. And it doesn't mean we're not concentrating. That's just what happens with the body. We build strength and balance over time, just as we build our concentration and our focus. In our class, make sure we're going to be doing a series of poses in the chair, standing, as well as on the floor. And we'll make sure we work on getting down onto the floor safely. So for today, we'll need a mat, our chair, our strap, 1 or 2 blocks. And then today, I'm introducing maybe the use of a blanket or a pillow to help cushion your knees or the space between your thighs and your calves. But I'll show that to you. So go ahead and grab all of your props and meet me back here. We're going to start our practice today with a form of pranayama or breath control called bumblebee breath. So I wanted to bring in a breath exercise today that would help us with concentration. So bumblebee breath, and this is really popular with kids too, because this is a fun one. Basically, you close off your ears, and you can use your whole hand if you need to, but you can also just take your index fingers and press the cartilage right at the inside of the ear. Not the inside of the ear, but press the cartilage to close off the ear so that you can tell the difference with the sound of your voice. And then you're going to breathe in and out of your nose, but as you exhale, you're going to keep your lips together and you're going to make a humming sound. And as you do this, and close the eyes as well, that makes it a little bit easier. As you do this, it's going to sound like a bumblebee. So I promise, it sounds silly, but it does increase concentration. So let's try this for just a couple rounds, and then you can do more on your own. So go ahead and close off the ears however you need to. Sit up nice and tall. Take a nice deep inhale through the nose. And a nice long exhale. Fully emptying the belly. Take another nice big inhale. And a nice big exhale, humming. And you'll notice that this tunes out any other sound, and that's how it helps increase your focus. And the vibrations that you feel as you do the breath just feel really nice as well. So go ahead and continue more rounds of that on your own, and meet me back here for our warm-up practice. All right, we're back. Go ahead and position your chair so that you can stand behind it and use it for balance. And it's pretty lightweight, the one I'm using, so feel free to move it around whenever you need to. So we're going to start to warm up. Now you can do this sitting in your, can I start over? I am so cold. All right, for our warm-ups, you're welcome to sit in your chair, or you can come to stand behind your chair and use it for balance. So to get us started, let's just start marching in place. Again, holding onto the chair, or let go if you feel confident here. Just move the arms back and forth. Now, if you feel comfortable here, not holding onto the chair, what we can also do is get a little bounce in the knees and a swing to the arms. Using momentum, just take the arms back and forth, a little bounce. Warming up the body, taking it as fast or as slow as you like. Of course, you can also be marching in place, getting the blood flowing, lubricating the joints. All right. So then we'll come back to center. And we'll start to get a twist using momentum again. So one hand can always stay on the chair as you twist to one side and then switch, twist to the other side. Now as I twist, I start to feel it in my knees if I don't lift up alternating heels. So go ahead and lift one heel up at a time, making sure your knee is always in line with the toes. Now, if you feel like you can step away from the chair, make sure you don't knock into it. You can use more momentum and let the arms swing together back and forth. Now you can really get into this and allow the hands to touch the sides of the body, the back, the front, and really get going and really warm up the body. Inhaling to one side, exhaling to other, or breathe in whatever way is most comfortable. And then slow that momentum. And we'll come back through center, using your chair for support or taking one hand to the hip. Inhale, reach the other arm up. Lift and lengthen, side stretch, exhale, back down. Inhale, lift and lengthen, side bend, exhale, back down. And just move with your breath back and forth. Keeping everything flowing and moving. Our breath nice and free. Pressing down through our feet. And release. Now we'll really start to get into the legs. Again, use the chair if you like. Take the feet wide. Make sure the toes are out wider than the heels. And this will help again ensure that the knees are in line with the toes. And just kind of test your hips here and test your stability and bend the knees, sink the hips. If this feels good and you feel stable, hands can be on the hips, or we can reach them up overhead. Exhale back down to cactus arms. Now when you do all this together, we're lifting up our body weight, bringing heat into the body, but we're also opening up the chest. So anytime we move the arms in this fashion, we can hug the shoulder blades onto the back. Again, as we age, this helps to prevent that rounding forward. Inhale up, exhale back down. And now this next time, we'll reach up, make a big circle with the arms, and you can either bring them to the chair and inhale back up, or as long as the chair is not in your way, inhale up, exhale, fold forward. Just being cautious if you have hypertension to not let the head drop below the heart. But some people really get into this and they'll drop way down. See what feels best. Keeping the knees in line with the toes. Don't let them cave in. Excellent. Come all the way back up. Hands to heart center. We'll come all the way back to our chair. Bring the feet to the floor. Take a seated cat and cow. You could do this standing as well and bend the knees and bring the hands to the thighs. But we'll inhale, lengthen the spine. Get an arch in the spine. And then if you have any concerns about osteoporosis, you want to bring the back on the exhale to neutral. Otherwise, you can keep going and rounding, pressing through the shoulder blades. Inhale, arching the spine, shoulders down away from the ears. Exhale to neutral or round the spine. The focus of this is the chest and the space between the shoulder blades. So we're not trying to over accentuate the neck or the low back. And one more time. And release. Come back through center. And we'll go ahead and take a seated twist and we'll flow with it. So your hands may need to be about shoulder height, or reach them up to the sky. Inhale, lengthen. Exhale, twisting towards the right. One hand can come to the knee, one hand to the chair. Inhale, coming back through center. Exhale to the other side. Inhale through center, and just keep moving with your breath. Exhale. Inhale. Come back through center, hands at heart center. All right. Next, we'll come back to we're going to actually come to the floor for some of our more work-oriented poses that we'll stay in for a few breaths or longer. For our next sequence, we're going to be coming down to the floor. And this is actually good to practice if you're not used to getting up and down off of the floor, to practice with your chair. So I just have my blanket here because I'm going to use this when we get down on the floor. But to come down safely, put your hands on your chair on the seat. Keep your strongest leg in the front. Your weaker leg can come back, drop down, and then you can bring both legs down. For what we're going to be doing, we're going to come down onto hands and knees. For a lot of people, you may need extra cushion underneath the knees. So we can use our blanket for that. We can also use it if we're taking a child's pose. We can use it to bring some support behind our knees for child's pose, which is a pose where we go from hands and knees to sinking the hips back towards the heels. Knees apart with the big toe mounds together makes more space for the belly to breathe. Stretch the arms out in front of you. Melt the heart down, forehead to the floor, or forehead to your block. Very relaxing pose as long as your hips will allow. So we're going to move back and forth from child's pose to all fours. Here we get a little bit of flexion in the spine. Press into the palms. Come back up onto hands and knees. A little more weight bearing for the shoulders. Exhale. Come back to child's pose. Now you may need to keep your hips up higher, anywhere between coming back here, hips all the way over the knees, and that's fine as well. But to get the extension of the spine, you're going to walk your hands out further forward and melt the heart here. This is really called puppy pose. So find what works best for you. Exhale, come back to your child's pose or your puppy pose with the hips up higher. Inhale to all fours. Get a little arch in the spine or keep the spine long. Exhale, coming back down. Inhale, back up. Exhale, back down. Take 2 breaths. Focusing on the sensations in your body. Part of the concentration that we're cultivating here today. Then come back up onto all fours. Now this will take a lot more focus. Let's have this underneath our knees. And actually, I have long arms and legs, so I'm going to move the chair out of the way. So coming to hands and knees, spread the fingers wide so you have a nice wide base, stacking the joints, the shoulders over the wrists. If you have sensitive hands or wrists, make fists. That'll take the pressure off. To start, we're going to reach our right toes back behind us, bring them to the floor, knee points down to the floor. And just notice your steadiness here. You can try both sides. And then try one arm at a time. So right arm lifts, draw the shoulder onto the back. Keep looking down at the mat to keep the neck in line with the spine. And then try the other side. So this is preparing us for spinal balance, in which you can take the right toes back, maybe lift the heel to hip height. See how that feels. And keep using the inner thigh to draw everything towards the midline. And then opposite arm, so not the same side. So my right leg is back and my left arm is forward. Use your core strength to stay in the pose for 1 or 3 breaths. You can always bring a hand down. You can always bring a toe down. And then switch sides. Setting up the pose. Reach through that back heel. Flex the foot like you're pressing into an imaginary wall. Opposite arm reaches out in front. Look down at the mat. If you lift the chin, it's just going to put strain on the neck. So look down at the mat. You may wobble and shake. That's normal. It's all part of building strength. And release back down. Take a child's pose or puppy pose with the hips up higher. Relax the forehead. We'll come all the way back up onto all fours. And then we're going to come up to stand. So generally, you want to have your chair close to you. Whoops, and that's the problem with folding chairs. You want to make sure this is nice and steady before you put your weight on it. Take your hands back to the chair. Take your strongest foot forward and come all the way back up to stand. And this is where I want to pause for a second. I'm going to blow my nose. All right. So I'll just move this out of the way for now. And I'm going to turn my chair around for some standing postures. All right. So stand up nice and tall and walk the feet back for downward facing dog. So you can really extend the spine and open up the backs of those hamstrings. Bend the knees if you need to feel more extension. And even if you don't think you need to, you might as well try it out and see if you can feel the difference. And we'll step our right foot forward, ground the back heel down, knee stacked over the ankle, back leg straight. Lift the chest. Use the chair for support or reach one arm up, the other arm up. And as you balance here, ground through the heels. Find your drishti. We have both feet on the floor, but this still requires balance and coordination. Steady your breath. Stay strong through the legs. Relax the shoulders down away from the ears. And we'll release. We'll step the left foot forward, right foot back. So just switching sides. Ground that back heel down. Front knee stacked over the ankle. Lift the chest. Focus your breath. One arm or both arms up. Hands could also be at heart center or on your hips. Different options. Bring your hands back to the chair. Walk it back to downward facing dog. Extend the spine and notice if you feel any different in the pose this second time. Reaching your hips back. We'll step our right foot forward, ground the back foot, 90-degree angle, or turn it in a little bit. Nice extension through that back leg. Front knee stacked over the ankle. Hand can stay on the chair. Back hand can reach and extend away from the shoulder. Open through the chest. Option to take the front arm up. Look out over the front fingertips. Steadiness in the breath. And here in this pose, as we're looking over our fingertips, it gives us a point of focus and concentration. And we'll switch sides. Step the back foot forward and switch. So front knee over the ankle, extend through that back leg. Now the knee's going to want to cave in, so roll that front thigh back and keep the knee in line with the pinky toe. Open up the chest, extend through the back arm. Keep the chest lifted, option to reach through the front hand and the front arm. Looking out over the front fingertips. Focus your gaze. Strong through the legs. And release. We'll step our back foot in and walk back to downward facing dog. So one final balance pose, tree pose. Now a lot of times we do tree pose, opening up our hip out to the side. But we're going to do this a little bit differently today. So I'm going to walk around to face the seat. And actually I'm going to face it this way. Good thing about a chair is you can move it around. So we have an option to put our foot on the chair. If you know that you're not comfortable with that, you can use your block for elevation. And I'm going to start, I'm going to ground down through my right foot and step on this block. So just to test to see if you want to be here or if you want the foot higher. Ground down through the feet, lift the chest. You can still hold onto your chair or bring hands to heart center and press down through the feet. Now you're going to find your drishti, which is your gazing point, where you're going to take your eyes. For balance, you want to look at something that is not moving. Steady the gaze. Now if you want to try the other version, make sure you feel steady. Bring the foot to the chair, press down through both feet. So we're filming here in a golf community. So when you practice poses like this may help you to get in and out of your golf cart. All right, press down to the feet. Option to reach the arms up overhead or bring them down to heart center. And release back down. Take it to the other side. Ground down through that left leg. You can bring the foot to your block or bring the foot all the way to your chair. Hands to heart center or keep holding on to your chair. Option to reach both arms or one arm up to grow the branches of your tree. You have to stay focused here to stay balanced. And if you fall out of these poses, and I don't mean fall to the ground, we want to make sure that if that's a risk, that we're not getting into the version of the pose that poses that risk. But if you kind of wobble and shake out of it, or if you have to step your foot down, that's normal because we have to build that balance. Just come back to a nice steady breath. Beautiful. When we return, we'll start our cool down. So it's time for our cool down. We're going to take our cool down to the floor. So again, and practice these transitions. Take your hands to the seat of your chair, strong leg in front, step the other foot back, and come down safely. All right, we're going to come all the way down onto our backs. So I'm going to have this out of the way. Shift your weight to one side. Scooch forward if you need to. We will be using the strap, so I'm going to keep that nearby. And come all the way down into your back. So you may need to use your hands or your forearms to come all the way back down. Now we're going to bring some awareness to our abs and our core here. So hug the knees into the chest. And you can rock side to side. You can make circles with the knees. So you can massage the low back, the hips. But to bring more activation to our core, as we inhale, let's draw our knees over our hips. Exhale, bring them back in. Inhale, draw away. And this isn't just legs, this is core. So you want to draw the low back into the floor. Inhale away. Exhale. And you'll notice the further away your legs are from you, the more challenging it is. So keep the knees in closer if it becomes too challenging. Or if you want more, you can start to straighten your legs away from you. But that'll put a lot more strain on the back. And then finally, knees into the chest. Give yourself a little rock, a little hug. Bring your feet to the floor, hip width apart. Make sure your toes are pointing straight in front of you. Palms down either side of the body. You're going to press down through the feet, especially the heels. Lift the hips into bridge. Now we're putting weight on the back of our head and our shoulders, so make sure you look straight up to the sky and don't turn the head to prevent any strain on the neck. Exhale, slowly roll down the spine one vertebra at a time till your hips are the last part of you to come down. Inhale, come all the way back up, opening up the front of the body. Exhale back down, and just notice that the knees may start to kind of sway out to the sides. Use your inner thighs to draw them together. One more time, come all the way back up, and maybe stay for one more breath. Inner thighs drawing together, pressing down through the shoulders, and exhale, release, back down. We'll go ahead and cross the right ankle over the left thigh, flex that foot, externally rotate the right hip, Either stay here and enjoy the sensations in the stretch here. If you want more, you can wrap the hands around the back of this hamstring, and you'll feel more sensation and opening in the glute. Now, some people are not going to be able to bring their foot up here. You can go as far as keeping that left leg straight and then cross and stay right here for your pose. Totally fine. Uncross, take the other side. Either keep that right leg straight and encourage that hip to externally rotate. And I like to keep the foot of my extended leg active. Or if it's in your practice, you can take that knee up higher or even wrap the hands around the back of the hamstring and draw the thigh closer to you. And release back down. Now for a great hamstring stretch, we can use our strap. Let's keep our right knee bent and our foot flat on the floor to start. Wrap the strap around the ball of the foot or the arch if it's not going to stay in place. Hold on with both hands. Melt the shoulders into the floor, extend through the arms, press the heel up towards the sky. Now I've got my leg pretty straight. You may not be able to do that. You can keep the knee bent, keep pressing up through the heel. Or even lengthen your strap and keep the foot out here, just so that you feel some opening through the back of the leg. Take your time. You can stay in this stretch quite a long time. You could stay in this for 5 breaths, however long you need to. And release, making sure you switch sides. Now over time, take the heel up towards the sky. Over time, as the muscles start to open, you may be able to straighten the other leg. Just keep it active. Flex that foot like you're pressing it into a wall. But you'll notice this adds intensity, so there's no reason why you can't keep the knee bent. And finally release. For a final pose, we'll bring our knees back into the chest. Take the arms out into a T. If you want more sensation, you can take the knees back up over the hips and then slowly drop the knees over to one side. I'm going to push my chair out of the way and melt the shoulders down. You're going to feel release in the side waist. Now, if you feel like you're hanging out there and you can't get the knees down, should have had this closer to me, you can use 1 or 2 blocks. Here, I'll demonstrate on the other side. Bring the knees down, and if I can't get them down, use your block. Use 2 blocks. You can also take a block in between the knees so you can relax everything down. It'll also make it easier for the shoulders to melt down. And then look in the opposite direction, so look towards the right. But make sure you do both sides evenly. Spend as much time on the right side as you do on the left. Full belly breaths. Inhale, we're going to come back through center. You may need to release your props. And now you're ready for relaxation. If you have any low back tension, walk the feet to the edges of the mat and let the knees knock in. Turn the palms up to face the sky. Make sure you can see everything here. Or go ahead and extend the legs away from you. Draw the heels towards the bottom corners of the mat. Palms turned up to the sky. If you need a little pillow or a little cushion underneath the head, add that in. Close the eyes, let the eyelids be heavy, and relax here for about 10 minutes. Melt all the muscles and let go of any more ideas of concentration, because we spent the whole class doing that. Now you can just let it go. All right, yogis, thank you for joining me today. My name is Rebecca Conrad, and I'll see you next time. Namaste.
I experienced in Korea.